we've got some interesting news coming in from Wayne County. It's the continuing celebration of the Wayne County Bicentennial. We'll tell you what things have been going on, what things are happening right now, and what things are going to be happening in the very near future. That's this week's version of the State of Greater Western New York Report, which as always is brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Linden Honeoye Falls Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history. Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the State of Greater Western New York Report. Join us each episode as we discuss fantastic topics ranging from history to science to the strange and the wonderful, as well as the treasured spirit with which our region has infused America. We challenge you to consider all things Greater Western New York, from our region's very beginnings to how it inspires, how it empowers, and why it is so admired. Here's the host of the State of Greater Western New York Report, Chris Carosa.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of the State of Greater Western New York Report. I know you like to see me. That's why I gave you a sneak preview while the credits were rolling. Hey, we've got three great guests today. We're going to be talking about Wayne County and what's going on with their bicentennial celebration. A couple of these people are new. A couple of them you've seen before. We've got Rosa Fox. Let's start with Rosa here. Rosa, you are going to tell us a little bit about what's been going on with the bicentennial, what's been happening already. Why don't you take it away?
Sure thing. Sure thing. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for having us on your State of Greater Western New York this morning, or this afternoon, I guess I should say. We've had a lot of projects going on. Most recently, we've celebrated our big bicentennial, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. Back in December of 2022, we released a nice volume, Voices of Wayne County, just in time for holiday gift giving. This is a 334 pages of reminiscences, poetry, prose, artwork, and photography, 140 works of text, and 120 images by 60 different contributors from across the county. Amber Linson from Walworth and a volunteer team of historians, retired English and history teachers, and librarians worked together for over a year compiling this book from submissions, as I say, from across the county. Stories like growing up, living on a farm, early businesses, school day memories, activities like skating, dancing, and boating, personal reflections about beloved individuals like teachers, neighbors, church leaders, parents, and friends, people who made a difference in the lives of the writers. The poetry covers many subjects, from family reunions to reflections from one poet about his life and looking at the Lighthouse Museum during a Sodas Bay Lighthouse concert. The photography and artwork are interspersed to enhance each of the written offerings and as standalones for their own creative strength. Voices was made possible in part by a New York State Council for the Arts re-grant that was administered through the Rochester Area Community Foundation, and the book is available at various museums, historical societies across the county. And to find out where you might pick up a copy, if you go to waynecounty200.com, you can find and go to the projects list in the menu. You can find a listing for where you can find Voices of Wayne County. And now let's talk about the bicentennial quilt a little bit. Walworth photographer Bob, I'm out of your sync here. Walworth photographer Bob Mogray went around the county taking pictures in all 15 towns. And a committee met. We met a couple times. Bob had to go back out and get some new shots of buildings and sites, historic sites of the county. And eventually we settled on 2 pictures for each town, in addition to 10 more pictures to kind of fill out the 40 panels of the quilt. In the upper left-hand corner, you see our bicentennial float. And then down a ways on the third row, over a second from the right, you can see an apple orchard. We have different kinds of generic shots of Wayne County. All those pictures were printed on fabric. And then the Reverse Curves Quilt Club from Williamson got together and planned out the quilt. As you can see, there's a lot of blue and red. So they spend a good deal of time of figuring out how to lay that quilt out so it looks really nice. And then they pieced it together, and there was an unveiling for the quilt on November 22nd. The quilt has been on tour around the county, going to various museums and banks and historical societies and libraries. And it is currently on display at the Galen Historical Society Brick Church Museum in Clyde, New York. It will be there through August 12th. And then you'll be able to see it at the Wayne County Fair, August 14th through 19th, at the Wayne County booth in Floral Hall. So we hope you'll come to the fair and visit. Founders Day was a grand celebration of the actual birth of Wayne County 200 years ago on April 11th, 1823. And you can see from this picture the decorations on the old courthouse, the historic courthouse in the town of Lyons. And we had quite a few people attending, and student groups performing, musical groups, and a number of dignitaries who came to share proclamations and give accolades to Wayne County. The special moment for all of us was the dedication of the historic marker that you see in the bottom right of this picture, commemorating the establishment of Wayne County being set off from Seneca and Ontario counties on April 11th, 1823. And following this celebration, we all moved to the Lyons Community Center for a delicious meal, historical displays, and an additional historical program. And I really want to give a shout out here to two people who made this day run so seamlessly for all of us, for the Bicentennial Committee and those people who attended. Deb Hall with the Wayne County Economic Development and Christine Worth of Wayne County Tourism just really kicked it up and provided a splendid day for everyone. And now, Chris, can we move to the gala?
Sure.
The ballroom at Cary Lake in Walworth was the scene for a big celebration of 500 people who gathered together at this site to celebrate the bicentennial. And you can see here tables filled. Gala coordinator Patty Holdraker's aim was for elegance. And I think with her committee, she achieved that beautifully. The ballroom was wonderfully decorated. The food was delicious. And we had some light entertainment. We had a visit by Colonel Anthony Wayne. And we also were pleased with our guest speaker, who was John Kutchko, who shared with us a number of slides that he's taken. He does like Wayne County, you know. He shared with us a number of slides he's taken of Wayne County, all the way from the lighthouse to the canal locks and falls in Wolcott, different places around Wayne County, and told great stories about those photographs. Some of the guests you may be interested to know, I think you can see here in that picture, but here we have some of the guests who arrived in period costume, like Bruce and Edie Farrington here, who arrived as the Captain Fitzhugh and his wife from Sodas Point. And the next folks, I'm not sure who they are, but they came in period attire and they look wonderful. Of course, Chris, all these events are history now. So these are things we've done. We've all had a good time. And an important component of the success of our Wayne County Bicentennial has been the sponsors. I keep going the wrong way for you. We are fortunate to have had many local business sponsors and private donors with us to make these projects and events possible. The generous contributions from these individuals and groups continue to fuel the bicentennial efforts moving forward. Coming up here in August, there are the Bicentennial Torch Relay and Family Fun Day that Jeff and Jean are going to tell you more about. So thank you, Chris.
All right, thanks, Rosa. Well, let's start off with Jeff. Jeff, you are in charge of the relay. Tell us a little bit about the relay, what's going on, where it's going to be, and what people need to do. And we'll probably break this up into two segments. Let's start off with the big folks. How are they doing with the relay?
Okay, Chris, we are getting some good numbers now. We're up to over 130 people registered for the 200-mile torch relay. We're still looking for some additional people. We start the Bicentennial 200 Torch Relay on Monday, August 14th from the Wayne County Fairgrounds, and we continue through Friday, August 18th at the fairgrounds, where any of the participants that they can return to lead us into the Wayne County Fair Parade for the final 200th mile. Participants will be running or walking 1 mile each, and we'll be going through all the towns and villages and most of the hamlets in Wayne County, averaging about 40 miles per day, and be passing over 200 historical sites. Monday, we'll have us starting out in Palmyra and finishing up at Casey Park in Ontario. Some of the historic sites that we'll be on that day include the Phelps General Store in Palmyra, the Coverlet Museum there, and the 4 churches on the 4 corners in Palmyra. Next, we'll be going into Macedon, and we'll be passing the Macedon Center Museum and the Macedon Center Meeting House. And from there, we head up into Walworth, and there's many, many historical sites in Walworth, including numerous historical markers, the Walworth Historical Society, 3 cobblestone structures or more, and the former Walworth Fire Hall. From there, we go on to Lincoln, and we have the former house of Dr. Morris and the former Methodist Church in Lincoln Grange. And then we go up to Ontario, where we'll travel by the Heritage Square Museum, Furnaceville, and we end that day at the famous ore beds in Casey Park. Tuesday, we start out at Casey Park again in Ontario, and we head to Pulteneyville, where we'll pass the historic Gates Hall, and from there we'll head back north to Williamson, East Williamson, Marion, where we'll be passing such historic sites as the Ezra Phelps Farm Complex, where today there's only a silo that remains. There's more cobblestone structures in the Marion, Williamson area. We'll go by the Soldiers Monument and Helen Green Memorial Chapel in the cemetery in Marion, and the Marion Museum at Jenny's house. From there, we head over to the Apple Shed and out to Fairville, past the famous Zurich Bog, and we finish that day at the Sodas High School. Wednesday takes us from the Sodas High School out to Sodas Center and the historic Red Baptist Church on South Geneva Road, and then by the Wallington Cobblestone Schoolhouse as we head into historic Sodas Point. Some of the sites there include the old Genesee Malt House, the old Sodas Point Lighthouse, the Wickham House, and the site of the old coal trestle, which burned down in 1971. From there, we'll go to Shaker Heights area and past the Cracker Box Palace, Alacia Farms, which was it was a very early settlement for the Mormons. Continuing south, we will travel to Rose, passing through the Rose Grange, and then heading back to North Rose and passing the Bernard Farnsworth Museum, and our day ends out at the beautiful Chimney Bluff State Park in Huron. Thursday, we start out at the Bluffs, and we continue out through Huron, passing the Dayton Mills Schoolhouse, the Old Town Hall, which is now the Huron Museum, the Huron Grange, which is across the road from the museum, and then out toward Rice's Mills. From Huron, we head into Wolcott, where we pass the famous Venus statue and the Northrop Carriage House, which is their museum. And taking the back roads from there to Red Creek, we'll pass by the Union Academy and the site of the first log cabin known to be built there. Moving on to Butler, we have the Butler Center Church Museum and Butler Drag Strip, formerly known as King's Drag Strip, before ending our day at the Montezuma Audubon Center. Our last day, Friday, takes us through Savannah and onto the Erie Canal Path to Lauraville Park in Clyde. Clyde is home to the historic Blockhouse, the Galen Historic Museum, the George Washington statue, and the Mill Museum. From there, we'll get back on the Erie Canal Path, which is part of our Wayne County history, and we'll head to Lyons, where there's so much history in a small area, including the Hotchkiss Peppermint Museum, the Museum of Wayne County, the Wayne County Courthouse, and the Water Street, Broad Street Historic District. From there, we'll move on towards Newark, and we'll pass the Lyons Dry Dock at Lock 28A, and then the East Newark Cemetery before we head to Marbletown to see the beautiful Marbletown Schoolhouse. From there, we'll head back into Newark, past where the Mora motor car historical marker is, where they used to make the Mora cars. We'll go by the Hoffman Clock Museum and the Newark Arcadia Historic Museum. We'll leave Newark on the Erie Canal Trail once again and head to East Palmyra and go by the East Palmyra Presbyterian Church, which was first organized in 1793, and the Galloway Farm Burial Vault, before we connect once again at the Erie Canal at Swift's Landing, and we move on toward our finish in Palmyra. Participants will follow an assortment of lead vehicles, including vintage cars, trucks, fire trucks, and maybe even a horse and buggy. We'll have support vehicles and police cars following us for safety throughout the event. We do ask participants to be at least 16 years old, and people can sign up and receive a T-shirt, medal, and collectible bib. You do not have to be a resident of Wayne County to participate. And like I said, we still have miles available. There is no same-day registration. And for additional information, as Rosa said earlier, everything is on WayneCounty200.com.
All right, thanks, Jeff. When we come back, Jeff, we'll talk a little bit about more how the race is set up and what the souvenirs are that they get. We'll be right back after these messages.
Through the mists of time, nature and man have both created and buried treasures beyond the imagination. With the ages, these riches slowly dissolve into mere myths until they are forever forgotten. But there are those brave souls who tirelessly cling to the truth, ever seeking to discover the undiscovered, to reveal what has always been there, to uncover the hidden gems of a land thought forsaken but loved by millions. 50 Hidden Gems of Greater Western New York. Discover the secrets in your own backyard. Buy your copy now at 50hiddengems.com.
Well, welcome back, everyone. This week we're talking about the Wayne County Bicentennial on the State of Greater Western New York Report. And with us today are three key members of the group. We've got the co-chairs, Rosa Fox and Jean Bavis, as well as the individual who is organizing the Torch Relay, Jeff Washburn. Jeff, we're talking to you about the Torch Relay, and we did have a question come in. First of all, they thanked you for showing how it looked, what the outline was, and what were some of the sites. But people were interested in exactly how it is they sign up for it, and are there adult groups or kid groups? You said that you had to be above 16. How are things segmented out in this?
Okay, Chris. They can sign up going on to the Wayne County 200 website, and that will have a link. It'll have all the information and the maps, etc. And then there's a link to Run Sign Up. They can go to Run Sign Up to actually sign up for the event. The cost is $22.20. and they were that a beautiful T-shirt that we've designed, and also there's the T-shirt, and we also have a medal that we've got designed that they'll get, the Bicentennial Medal. And then we're also have a commemorative racers runners bib that they'll get, which we don't have a picture of that today, but it's a very nice collectible item that they can get for that. People can sign up in groups. It is set up where we can have 2 people per mile, and if a group wants to have more people than that, they just need to contact me. My email address is on the Wayne County 200 website, and I can change the field on run sign up so they could sign up as many people for a mile that they would want. We mentioned the special event that we're going to have, the Youth Torch Relay. That Youth Torch Relay will be on Tuesday night at the Sodus High School from 5:30 to 8. Employees from the Reliant Federal Credit Union, one of our major sponsors, will be carrying the torch into the track area to kick off the event. This is designed to be a family event for use 5 and it's a free event. We're going to have a 20-foot air obstacle course and concessions for everybody. Participants can sign up and run 1 lap. They can run 2 laps. They can run 4 laps, which would be a mile. They can even do more than that if they want to. And their miles will count toward our 200-mile goal. And participants, again, the kids will receive a medal and the commemorative runner's bib. And when they pre-register on the Wayne County 200 site, they can also request a T-shirt for $10. That would be for pre-registered people only, as we have to get the shirts made in the next week for that. We do offer same-day registration for that event, and we will have a photographer available to take the pictures of the participants. They hold the torch, and they'll be standing in front of the drop banner that we've had made for them. We'll also have some historic markers set up around the track and around the venue, and the school is also letting us use their large video screen where we can have PowerPoint presentations and more information about the history of Wayne County for the youth. We really want to get the youth involved in the history of our county. The registration, like I said, will be available same day at the track. People can start showing up around 5:30 to pre-register for that day. And again, more information is available. You can go to Wayne County 200.com and look for bicentennial events, and then under that, Youth Torch Relay.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Jeff. Gene, you've got something that's really interesting that's going on that has a different sort of appeal. You don't have to run around for this one. You can actually sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Tell us about what you've been working on.
Thanks, Chris. We will be at the Wayne County Fair all week and have a display on in Floral Hall. But on Saturday, August 19th, we're having what we call Family Fun Day. And Family Fun Day will be for kids of all ages. It's set up so that there will be reenactors there, both Revolutionary War and Civil War era reenactors. We will have a tent with speakers from the past where we've asked local historical societies and people from around the county to portray various important people and do a 5, 10, 15-minute talk about who they are and what they did in their lives. We'll have some historic music. We have the Towpath Volunteers. We have Don Dwyer doing Civil War music. We have also have a Iroquois storyteller. Perry Ground is going to do a program on Haudenosaunee or Iroquois stories. He's an Onondaga tribe member. And we're going to have a Punch and Judy show, which is a historic puppet show. In addition to that, there will be historic crafts under another tent. There will be some displays, particularly related to a Civil War unit, the 111th, which was primarily the Wayne County. We will have Doc Buell there, who is a Civil War surgeon. There will be the Ganondagan and Genesee Country Village have outreach programs, and they will be scheduled under a different tent. So there's multiple things going on at the same time. It will be great fun for all who attend. It goes from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. that day. Admission is free for children, and we are offering an opportunity for adults to get in to the fairgrounds free during the hours of 10 to 2 with a special coupon, which will be available on our website and at other places. So we'll pay the admission for the adults to bring their kids or just to come themselves on that day so that they can enjoy this great program. We also have scheduled a historic music series. 4 of our historic music presentations will be at the Wayne County Fair. And again, that schedule is on WayneCounty200.com, so you can see it, who's on when. But this is the first one that we had. This is kind of a historical thing. We had this program on June 15th at the Oman Theater, and Professor Jim Kimball and folklorist Karen Canning did a program on 19th century dance tunes. So that was very good. But the rest of the historic music series will take place in the fall. We have on September 17th, again, Don Dwyer will come back and do his Civil War music program. And we will have the Excelsior Cornet Band, which is an authentic Civil War era band, reenactors. In addition to that, at that Pulteneyville event, there will be a displays of other Civil War stuff that people can enjoy. We have the Remarkable Irresistible Erie program coming up on October 14th. We have the Fiddlers of the Genesee coming on October 22nd. And we'll end our historic music series for this year, at least, on November 5th with the history of rock and roll at the Oman Theater in Lyons. Again, all of these things are online, information about them at WayneCounty200.com.
There's that little note up there. Thank you very much, Gene, about that. So again, if you want more information, just go to WayneCounty200.com and you'll be able to learn more about all these wonderful things that are going on. A lot of activity in Wayne County. Very exciting place there. Even more history there than meets the eye. Before we wrap up, there was one more question, and that was, what was the exact date that Wayne County was formed, and how did it get formed? So I guess those are 2 questions. Sorry. So I don't know if... go ahead.
April
Gene.
11th, 1823 was the establishment of Wayne County. It was an act of the New York State Legislature, which took portions of Ontario County and portions of Seneca County to create this new county called Wayne, named in honor of General Anthony Wayne.
A lot of people are wondering if it's John Wayne, but I guess not.
No, not John.
All right.
Tony.
Yeah. So, the other thing that's interesting about Wayne County that people in other counties, particularly those in the western portion, may not be aware of, but preemption line runs through it. Preemption line is a very important part of Western New York history. Perhaps on another date, we'll talk about that. Well, Rosa, Gene, Jeff, thank you very much for being a part of today's show. And thank you all there in listening land or watching land for watching this show. Remember, if you are registered at, oh, we don't want to put Steve Heath's
Whoa.
number. That was that was a couple weeks ago. If you would like to be a member of our live audience, you can go to stateof.greaterwesternnewyork.com, sign up for free. You'll receive the invitation Thursday morning for that day's show, which airs every noon on Thursday. I realize people are at work, so you can always watch it on the archive, or if you like our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll be able to see it there when it rebroadcasts at 1:30 every Sunday. Those two platforms will notify you when the broadcasts are starting. Other than that, the only way you can ask questions of our guests is by being here live at noon Thursdays. So that's it for now. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you again. Bye-bye for now.